The draft is coming up, and I thought for my first video it would be perfect to talk about the draft and how teams should use their picks to correctly construct a winning or even a Super Bowl team. Often we see the same teams like the Jaguars, Lions, and Jets, always at the bottom of the standings and at the top of the draft, as well as teams like the Packers, Ravens, and Steelers, among others, usually at the top of the standings and at the bottom of the draft. These aren't just a coincidence. Your methods and the way you draft often lead you back again to the bottom or the top of the standings. So in this video, I want to show you how, in my opinion, teams should go at the draft in today's NFL. And I also want to shout out at TheoAlsNFL on TikTok, as he gave me my inspiration to make this video. Quarterbacks. Most people probably knew that QBs are the most important position in the draft. After all, most people will tell you that they're the best way to build a team. But most people don't understand just how important they are. And not just quarterbacks, but also passing offenses. A passing offense is by far the best way to build a Super Bowl contender. Just looking at the last 4 teams remaining this season, in the Chiefs, Buccaneers, Packers, and Bills, they had the 4 best passing offenses and all ranked in the top 5 at passing DVOA and points per drive. And they had their best quarterbacks in the top 5 of DYAR and DVOA. The fact is, passing the football well gives you the best chance to win. Looking at the last 15 Super Bowl winners, after taking out the anomaly of the 2015 Denver Broncos, the average ranking in passing DVOA is 6.6, and the median is 4.5. Developing a good passing offense should be a team's #1 priority in the draft, and the quarterback is by far the most important part of that. Looking at this year's draft, one of the most interesting picks lies with the New York Jets at the 2nd overall pick. Coming off 3 years of a struggling Sam Darnold and a horrible coach in Adam Gase, the Jets are some sort of a quarterback crossroad. Option 1, they stick with Darnold and either draft at 2 or trade down. When there, they can select one of the top non-QB prospects like Penei Sewell, Kyle Pitts, or Jamar Chase. The second option is to either draft Justin Fields or Zach Wilson at number 2. The argument with sticking with Darnold is that he's shown flashes of brilliance, which is true, but his O-line and coaching have let him down. And if the Jets draft a QB, they will struggle as much as Darnold did. The thing is, many fans seem to have the idea that either the Jets trade a QB or they draft Darnold. There's no in between. This thinking is flawed. Why not do both? This allows the Jets to really know if Darnold is only struggling because of a situation, and see if the quarterback they drafted to is better than Darnold, whether that be Fields or Wilson. If Fields or Wilson is shown to be better over their first season, they can trade Darnold and then get back some late-round picks. And although rare, if Darnold wins the starting job and improves, they can either keep him or trade him for more value depending on how good he performs. The truth is with quarterbacks in the draft is that you want to draft them a lot. Just because you already have a young quarterback doesn't mean you shouldn't draft another. If your young QB hasn't been very good and doesn't have elite traits, it is almost always best to try again. Almost all very good QBs in the NFL today were either really good as soon as they stepped on the field, like Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson, or were not, but showed elite skills, like Josh Allen and Peyton Manning, who both struggled early in their careers, but either showed an elite arm or an elite football IQ. You want to be proactive, not reactive when drafting quarterbacks. If you want to know the right way to draft quarterbacks, just look at the 2019 Arizona Cardinals. Coming off a 2-14 season, that saw them have the lowest passing EPA per play of the whole decade. They had a young quarterback in Josh Rosen who, put it nicely, was not great. The Cardinals correctly saw the flaws in Rosen, how he didn't have any elite skills and was very bad as a rookie. The Cardinals had seen enough and drafted Kyler Murray #1 overall in 2019. And now that Murray has shown himself to be good at his draft position, and the Cardinals look set to compete for years, if they can build a consistent supporting cast for him, all sides point to the fact the Cardinals made the right move. The Cardinals were proactive. They saw that Rosen was not a good QB and could not win them a championship. And they made a move because finding your quarterback is the most important thing to do in today's NFL. Going back to that idea that I mentioned before, of building a passing offense to win, there's one team and as a top 10 pick that if they built a very good passing offense, they'd become instant contenders. And that is the Miami Dolphins. The best thing for the Dolphins to do is trade for Deshaun Watson. I think they have the best offer to the Texans right now. But if they don't, this is what I think they should do. Most people I see say that it would be crazy to draft a QB in the top 5 again. But is it? Like I mentioned before, if you are not good as a rookie and don't show any major promising traits, that is a huge red flag. And Tua did both. Tua is a fascinating quarterback because at the time of the 2020 draft, he was still seen as an elite prospect. Even coming off an ankle injury, and he didn't even have an elite arm or elite mobility. I think now that we look back at Tua, we can see that he was a flawed prospect. Something I will give to Tua is that he was coming off injury and he didn't have a lot of playing time. I can see him vastly improving next year, but I still think because of a lack of elite traits, he will never be a truly elite quarterback. I just think that the upside to either Zach Wilson or Justin Fields is much higher than Tua right now. And if you're the Dolphins, you have to commit to this team and coaching staff and give them more talent at quarterback. If the Dolphins only had the third pick in this first round, I would go wide receiver or offensive tackle, probably either Penei Sewell or Jamar Chase. But they don't. They also have pick 18 and could draft a guy like Rashad Bateman to help either Zach Wilson or Fields. Bateman, who I and a lot of people think could be the best receiver from this draft if we look back in a couple years. If the Dolphins could either draft Fields or Wilson at 3 and get Bateman, then an offensive lineman in the draft, I think that would be perfect for the Dolphins. And then, if you're the Dolphins, you are looking at a great defense, a good young quarterback, a good number 1 receiver, and a great coach and organization for the next years to contend.